That down? Let's get things started with this, shall we? Last night, Daredevil, Born Again, aired episode 8, the second to last episode of the season. And I got to tell you right now, I know I'm always like, whenever there's a Disney Plus show, I'm always like, guys, I know they start pretty good, but then they often go to the crapper. I feel now, with one episode to go, I can call it. This show is an unmitigated win for Disney Plus and for Marvel. And it's an unmitigated win for them when they needed it pretty badly. Because, I mean, let's call it what it is. The Disney Plus shows for Marvel have been, to be kind, hit and miss. Definitely some good wins, right? Ms. Marvel, WandaVision, surprisingly, Agatha All Along ended up being both a ratings and quality-wise a pretty good show. Loki's been pretty solid. Yeah, but they also had Echo, and they had She-Hulk, and they had Moon Knight, and they had Secret Invasion. And yeah, Hawkeye's on the fence.
I feel like that was like mid-tier.
Yeah, like, Hawkeye was mid-tier.
Just like where I put Captain America and
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter.
Yeah, some definitely good episodes and some not so good. But anyway, so like the Disney Plus stuff has been hit and miss. And especially, I still have the taste in my mouth of Secret Invasion. I read the script and I thought it read well, and I'm watching the show. I'm like, yeah, this is the same show, but man, if you ever want a great example of how much gap there is between the script and then actually translating it onto the screen, that show is one of the big ones. I still have the bad taste in my mouth. So listen, we're going to talk about Daredevil a little bit here. And I want to give you guys a warning that, listen, most of you who are Daredevil fans, you've already seen the episode. So we're going to talk with some spoilers. So we're going to have Jonathan just put up this spoilers warning right here. We're going to talk about Daredevil episode 8 and our thoughts on the season up until now. And if you don't want to know anything, and if you haven't seen last night's episode, you don't want to know anything, just mute your computer or your screen or whatever until that spoilers warning comes down. Okay? Got it? Good. I can honestly say there hasn't been a single episode this season that I didn't like. At worst, the worst episode to me was pretty damn good. That was the worst one to me. And then you get a couple of episodes, like last night's, that were damn awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Listen, I'll tell you what, Matt's personal journey through this season has been, I'll say it's been better than any of his character arcs in the Netflix series. I'm not saying that this Born Again is better than the Netflix series. I'm saying the actual character journey and the character development of Matt has been better in this iteration of the show on Disney Plus than it was ever in Netflix. And what has been the best part about it is that how him and Wilson Fisk have had this parallel journey, right? Of both kind of over what they were, trying to be something a bit different, constantly feeling tugged, and then finally going, you know what, whatever, I'm that guy again.
Yeah.
Right?
You remember we talk about Godfather 2ing things?
Yes.
This is kind of a Godfather 2. You know, you're watching Michael and young Vito, and I mean, it's not quite like that. But like you said, I think that's been a really strong aspect of this show.
Oh, absolutely.
And you knew all hell was going to eventually break loose. And they've done a great job leading us down that path.
Now, I'll admit, and I was surprised, we didn't get a chance to talk about last week's episode because we were at CinemaCon. I was surprised when they killed Muse. I mean, it narratively perfect. It serves the purpose of the story. I'm all for it. It worked. But I was still surprised that they did it that early on. But still, I mean, they clearly wanted the focus to be back. They wanted the spotlight back on Matt and Wilson. That's where they wanted the spotlight. And I'm going to tell you, I talked about this on the after show last night. My favorite part of last night's episode, and I think most people missed it. A little bit earlier in the episode, Matt's in the prison with Bullseye. And Bullseye says to him, that's what good guys do, right? They risk themselves to save their worst enemy. Great line. Now fast forward to near the end of the episode. And Matt's in the ballroom and he hears Bullseye and he hears the gun cock, right? What I loved and this is brilliant writing. I think most people even missed it. He pauses. Matt pauses. He doesn't rush in immediately to push Wilson out of the way to protect him. He pauses. And you know, in that pregnant moment, he's like, do I really want to save this guy? And I guarantee you, had Bullseye showed up there 5 minutes earlier before Matt figured out that it was Vanessa that had Foggy killed, no chance he saves Wilson. No chance. But in that pregnant pause, which they did so subtly, he thinks about it for a second, probably without them doing the overt, that's what good guys do, right? Like the echoing words of Bullseye. They risk themselves to save the world. You know that's part of that was what's going through his head. And at the last moment decides to throw himself in front of Wilson. And it's just that pause that I think most people miss, but I thought was brilliant. And again, I just think this show right now, because you guys know I was so apprehensive about Daredevil going to launch. I listened to the interviews of the showrunners and I just kept thinking, the showrunner doesn't get it. The showrunner doesn't understand what makes this show great. Oh, he does. Oh, he do. I've been so impressed with this. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungryroot. Okay, so I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. Spring hits and suddenly life goes from like 0 to 100. Busy season is officially in full swing over here. And honestly, who's got time to go grocery shopping? That's where Hungryroot comes in. See, because Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper. I told them my goals and they started curating groceries for me that actually fit my life. Be it smoothies, snacks, salad kits, even ready to eat meals. All clean ingredients, no artificial junk. This week, I got the grilled turkey tenderloin with pesto grilled veggies, and it was amazing. And I got my usual protein-packed snacks. It's like they're learning my taste better than I even know myself. And the best part is, I don't have to waste time driving to the grocery store and wandering the aisles. That's time I can spend doing literally absolutely anything else. Guys, I love Hungryroot. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea. Again, I'm not ready, Rob, to say that this is on level with the Netflix one.
Sure.
But it's close, and I never would have thought it'd been close. What have you been thinking about the season so far?
Well, as you were just starting to say, the complexity of what's going on in terms of Vanessa's involvement with because I was like, you show Bullseye killing Foggy at the beginning of this season. That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it kind of was, okay, Bullseye goes to prison. And I was like, that's it? Like, there's got to be extra added levels of all that. So I was waiting for them to get back and add some more complexity, because Bullseye is a huge part of Daredevil mythology.
Yeah.
And where it went, they brought it up to that level of operatic crime, maybe not Godfather level, but they brought it up there. And I was, like you said, pausing, like he did make a decision, and then he did the Daredevil thing to do. But they've added, like, I thought the bank heist episode, the Inside Man episode, was that a vestige of the original version of this show?
I just really liked it.
It was fun. It was fun, but it's interesting to me because it really does seem like they didn't jettison all of the original iteration of what they were doing before they had it. You can see, because they talked about, I think they were talking about how it was more about Matt and Wilson Fisk, and it wasn't about so much Daredevil. There wasn't enough Daredevil in it. But I think this storyline, like you said, showing where they're going, and even the marriage counseling stuff, I'm like, where it all has come
it's
together.
All paying off.
And I was watching it last night going, you know what? This is some high quality programming. Now, there's been some steps that I don't necessarily agreed with a lot, like the news reporting on the streets. I still feel that was kind of a.
I still think that's going to have a payoff in the finale.
I do too.
I think it's building up to something.
I do too. But I was going to say, yes, I think it will. And I know after last night's episode, I'm convinced more than ever it's going to have a great payoff. Like, I don't know.
I had thought, and I think one of our viewers as well, I'm sure a few people have thought, that was actually Muse. and that's how he got his victims.
That became one of the theories.
Yeah,
but then that obviously went away. Yeah, I'll tell you one of the other things about the one thing that happened, like in last night's episode, I talked about this on the postgame show, was that when Kingpin anoints Little Soprano as the deputy mayor, I thought, no, wait a minute. Like, we know Wilson values loyalty above everything. And I said on the show last night, I said, but this kid is so inexperienced and he just made a massive mistake.
Yeah.
I don't see Wilson giving that kid that job just yet. And then one of our viewers wrote in and said this: Wilson's putting him in place to be a fall guy in case things go bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He's sacrificing
that's
him.
exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
It was like, it's like Penguin with his sidekick.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, with Vic.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Vic. Oh, don't bring up Vic. That's just making me sad.
That's also being broadcast left and right too, with each thing of him being like, I will burn for you. I will sacrifice myself for you. He is so willing to be a
You
pawn.
said you would burn for me.
Yeah.
So burn.
That's really good.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So I mean, and look, I just want to jump back to that second thing about that the bank heist episode. I think again, one of the things a lot of people miss about that episode, and what the pivotal thing about that episode was that was the episode that Matt gave up on his thing to let the system be the system. That was the episode that he embraced being Daredevil again, because as the bank robbery is now done and the one lead guy was getting away. Remember, episode 1, Matt's like, I believe in the system. I'm going to let the system do its work. In that episode, it was Matt didn't go to the cops and say, hey, the guy who was running this thing got away.
Right.
Nope. He said, I got to go get checked out, put on the mask, and went and got him. That's when he embraced being Daredevil again. But one other shot I got to mention. I'm going to see if you guys know what I'm talking about. Where Bullseye uses his own chipped out tooth to attack the guard. Just quick question. Do you know what that reminded me of?
Wait, I have a feeling.
What do you think it is that reminded me of?
I think it's Magneto when they brought in the iron in so he get out his plastic.
It's not, but that's what one of our viewers suggested last night too. Here's what it reminded me of. Colin Farrell's Bullseye in the Ben Affleck one when he's on the plane with the little old lady and he kills her with the peanut. I just had immediately thoughts of that when he did that. Anyway, Chris.
As I laugh. It's awful.
I think last night's episode was amazing, but the bigger picture is I think the show, I'm all ready to call it with one episode go. The show's a win. It's a huge win. What's your feelings been, and what do you think the importance is of how good the show has been so far?
Yeah, they're gonna have to really shit the bed to make us not a good show at the
It
end
was all
here.
a dream.
Yeah. Oh my
He's
God,
gonna be-
he'd been in a coma. Yeah.
Foggy wakes up.
It's all
I had this
foggy.
terrible dream, Foggy, that you were shot.
It'd be great.
It's just everybody at Murdoch and Nelson twerking.
That's how it ends.
Oh,
I
no.
would love that, honestly.
With Jennifer.
Oh, bring her in. Bring her in. Give her justice. I want to talk about what Rob brought up about with the Foggy debacle at the beginning, right? So we just killed his best friend and now he's just going to be a sad boy and accept it. I love that has made us as the audience so on board with Matt's frustration with the judicial system.
Yeah.
I love that is a shared rage that when he blows up this episode and is like, this is all pointless. This is all so useless. You're like, yeah, it is. Let's go crack some skulls. Government is stupid. Let's grab a Molotov cocktail. I am radicalized. You have this bloodlust along with him as you watch this, which is so great and so cool to create for your audience to feel and be totally on board. The way that they've kind of teed up Heather to not be sympathetic after her attack. Likening him to Muse, where you're like, hey, I get it, but stop, I like him.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing such great jobs of getting you really ready for this finale. And everything is now coming to this really great conclusion. Seeing how BB actually has a plan.
Yeah.
Seeing, Commissioner Gallo actually having, a spine and trying to stand up to things. That horrific air fryer moment. Oh my God.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which I do think is like the worst way to die is to be air fried. I think or deep fried. That'd be horrible. Drowning and burning at the same time. No. But this show has just done such a great job of paying tribute to the original Netflix series and finding its own footing.
Yes.
And making those choices to be more of a political intrigue, character exploration in which we are looking at the duality of man and how you can ultimately not fight your darker vices and the darker sides of you, and you have to accept those things. At least that's the thesis of this show so far. And it's just been so freaking fun.
You know
I
what
love
the
it.
great thing about that speech you brought up when he's talking to his partners, like, this is all pointless, this is whatever. One of the things this show has done so great is doing little things that we don't quite get and then having a big payoff for it later, right? I remember some people criticizing that whole sequence they had where Matt's trying to represent the guy who stole the caramel corn. But that was all set up to be a payoff to that big moment of frustration. It's like, this guy's in jail. Who cares? This guy goes to prison for 6 months for eating some caramel corn. Like, it all is a part of Matt's development. And I love how they're paying that all off. And kudos to them. I mean, I think Chris is absolutely right. Like, they would have to shit the bed in the finale so monumentally. So I'm willing to call it this season's been a win. How
Everyone's
do
a
you guys
scroll.
feel about it so far? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.